Said she had something to show me that no living man had ever seen. I was drunk and desperate, so I did what she said. And when she opened up, the air around us turned red. It wasn't flesh, it wasn't warm. It was something that breathed on its own. Darkness moving, whispering, pulling me into the unknown. A place that smelled like sulfur, old blood and forgotten sin. And before I could stop myself, I was already crawling in. I should've run, I should've screamed, I should've turned and walked away. But something in that darkness called my name in a voice that sounded like I used to pray. So I pushed in deeper like a man who had already sold his soul. And she just smiled and whispered, "Now you're finally whole." She opened her legs and showed me hell. Took me deep inside of where the angels fell. I came inside her like a man who knew he wouldn't leave. And she just held me tighter while I started to believe that this was where I belong. This was where I was meant to be. She opened her legs and showed me hell. And now hell is all I see. It wasn't pleasure, it wasn't pain. It was something worse than both. Like my soul was being peeled apart while she watched me choke. She didn't move like a woman. She moved like something ancient and wrong. And every time I tried to pull out, she just pulled me in stronger. I saw things inside her I still can't unsee. Faces of men who came before me, reaching silently. They were begging me to turn around before it was too late. But I was already too deep, already sealing my own fate. She didn't have to force me, she didn't have to lie. She just opened up wide and let me watch myself die. And the deeper I went, the more I started to like the way it burned. Like I was finally home in the place I was always meant to return. She opened her legs and showed me hell. Stayed there. Time doesn't move the same when you're buried inside something that doesn't have a name. She came with a sound like dying stars and breaking bones. And when it was over, she looked at me and said, in a voice like smoke and stones, "Now you know what's waiting for you when you finally close your eyes. Now you know there's no more running, no more praying, no more lies." She opened her legs and showed me hell, and I still feel it every time I try to sleep. She opened her nowhere, blood still on my hands from the night before. She looked at me like she already knew what I'd done, and she wanted more. We didn't talk much, we just went back to her place and fucked like animals. But something felt off, she was wet but not from me. She was wet from something else. Afterwards she told me the truth while we lay there in the dark. Said the only time she ever really feels anything is when she's watching someone's life fall apart. She said she killed before, said she liked the way it made her body react. And when she told me that I should've left, but instead I got hard again. I thought she was joking at first, thought it was just some fucked up pillow talk. But the next night she took me out and showed me what she meant when she said she liked to watch them drop. She picked a man at random, let him out back, and put a knife in his throat. And while the blood poured out, she pulled me into her and moaned like she was finally home. She only gets wet when she's killing, only comes when there's blood on the floor and a body that's still twitching. I tried to fuck her normal, tried to make love like regular people do, but she just lays there bored until someone's life is bleeding out in front of you. She only gets wet when she's killing, and I'm starting to think I like it too. We've been doing it together for months now, picking them up, taking them somewhat quiet. I hold them down while she does the cutting, and she fucks me while they're dying. It's not even about the sex anymore, it's about the look in their eyes. The moment they realize they're not getting out of this alive. She rides me harder when they beg, she comes harder when they cry. And I hate myself for how much I've started to need that sound to get me by. I used to be a man with limits, now I'm just the one who holds them still, while the woman I love gets off on watching them spill. I've tried to stop her, I've tried to stop myself, I've tried to walk away, but every time I leave I end up right back in her bed the very next day. Because normal sex feels empty now, normal life feels like a lie. And the only time I feel alive anymore is when someone else is about to die. She only gets wet when she's killing. I don't know who I am anymore without this, without the blood, without the fear, without her moaning while someone takes their last breath. She's turned me into something I used to hunt. And the worst part is I don't even wanna go back to who I was before this cunt. She only gets wet when she's killing, and now I only get hard when I'm helping her do it. We're both monsters now, and we both know it. She only gets wet when she's killing, and I'm the one who keeps bringing her the bodies to get wet with. for me at the edge of the road, where the living don't go. Black dress, pale skin, and eyes that already knew everything I'd done below. I should've kept walking, should've turned around and run, but something in the way she stood made me stop and come undone. She didn't speak at first, she just looked at me like I was already hers, like she'd been waiting a long time for this moment to occur. I asked her who she was, and she smiled like she'd heard that line before. Then she said, "You already know, baby, you've been calling me for years." I felt my heart slow down the second she touched my face, like she was already deciding how much time I had left to waste. I knew what she was, but I didn't walk away, because part of me had been waiting for this too, in its own sick way. I fucked death herself on the side of a road under a bleeding moon. She took me deep and cold, and I still didn't leave the room. I came inside her like a man who knew he wouldn't last, and she smiled when I finished, like she'd done this in the past. I fucked death herself, and I didn't even try to fight. I let her take whatever she wanted on that long and final night. Now I'm cold, and I'm empty, and I'm buried in her skin. I fucked death herself, and I'm still dying from within. She moved like she was starving, like she hadn't touched a man in years. Every time I pushed in, I felt something disappear. Her body was cold at first, then it started burning hot, like she was pulling life out of me with everything she got. I tried to pull away when I felt my chest get tight, but she locked her legs around me and held me through the night. She whispered in my ear with a voice that wasn't hers, "You wanted this, remember? Now you're gonna stay with me forever." I felt my heartbeat slowing down, I felt my vision start to fade, but I still kept moving like a man who was already made. She kissed me when I came, and I swear I tasted death, but I didn't stop, I couldn't stop, I had nothing left. I fucked death herself on the side of a road under a bleeding moon. I saw the light behind her eyes go out and something else move in. I felt my life get smaller with every single rise and fall of her hips. She didn't even have to say it, I already understood that this was how it ended, not with fire, but with blood. And when she finally came, she didn't make a sound. She just looked at me and smiled as I slowly sank down. I tried to say I'm sorry, tried to say I changed my mind, but she put her finger on my lips and whispered, "Too late, you're already mine." I fucked death herself, and I never even tried to run. I gave her everything I had until there was nothing left to give her. Now I'm cold, and I'm empty, and I'm buried in her skin. with herself. And I'm still fucking dying from within. And I'm still fucking dying from within. Them deep where the trees grow thick and the ground stays cold. Shovel dirt until my hands bled, until I thought the story was told. I told myself it was over, that the past was finally dead and gone, that the things I did in the dark would stay buried until I was long gone. But the dirt started moving a few weeks later, soft at first, then loud, like something was scratching from underneath, trying to crawl out. At first I thought it was animals, or the wind on my mind playing tricks. But then I heard voices, their voices calling my name from 6 feet deep in the sticks. I tried to ignore it, I tried to drink it quiet, I tried to pretend it wasn't real. But every night the scratching got louder, and I could feel them starting to heal. The ones I killed, the ones I buried, the ones I swore I'd never think about again. They were coming back, and they weren't coming back alone. I buried my sins, but they started digging themselves out, clawing through the dirt with broken nails and empty mouths. I thought I could hide them, I thought I could make them stay down. But now they're walking again, and they're coming back to town. I buried my sins, but they started digging themselves out. And they remember exactly who put them in the ground. The first one showed up at my door, with dirt still in her hair, eyes empty, skin pale, and a smile that wasn't really there. She didn't speak, she just stood there, looking at me like she was waiting for me to say something to explain why I did what I did that night I was hating. I tried to run, I tried to shoot, I tried to burn the house down, but they kept coming one by one, from every shallow grave in town. Some of them I fucked before I killed them, some of them I just shot, but all of them remembered, and all of them wanted what I took. I don't sleep anymore, I don't even try, 'cause every time I close my eyes I hear them scratching from inside. They're not ghosts, they're not dreams, there's something worse than that. They're my sins giving bodies again, and they're coming to take it all back. I buried my sins, but they started digging themselves out. if I just buried it deep enough. But some things don't stay dead when you're the one who made them bleed. Now they're walking through my town, wearing the faces of the ones I hurt. And every time I see them, I remember exactly how much I'm worth. I don't know if this is hell, or if it's just what I deserve, but I know I'm not getting out of this alive. And I know I won't be the last one they serve. I buried my sins, but they started digging themselves out. And now they're walking again, and they know what I'm about. I thought I could hide them, I thought I could make them stay down. But now they're here, and they're not leaving until I'm in the ground. I felt it coming 2 nights before the moon turned red. My hands started shaking, and the noise inside my head got louder than the thunder, louder than the prayers I used to say. Told me there was someone out there who was meant to die today. I locked the doors, I hid the knives, I tried to stay inside. But the blood moon doesn't knock, it just opens up and steps inside. It finds a rotten part of you that you try to keep asleep, and it wakes it up real slow. Then it tells you who to keep. I heard her moving in the kitchen, didn't even know her name. But the moon already showed me how this night was gonna end the same. I walked in slow with my head hanging low, already knew what I would do. And part of me was screaming, but the other part was smiling too. The blood moon made me kill again. I didn't even put up a fight. It pulled the trigger with my finger while it whispered in the night. I watched the life leave her eyes, and I felt something come alive. Like the only time I'm honest is when I'm taking someone's life. The blood moon made me kill again, and I still don't know her name. But I remember how she looked at me right before I took the flame. Now I'm sitting in the dark with blood still on my hands, and the moon is getting fuller. It already knows I'll do it again. I dragged her body to the river while the moon still hung above. Washed the blood off in the water, but it wouldn't come off, my love. The truth is I ain't crying for her, I'm crying for the man I used to be. 'Cause every time the moon turns red, it gets a little harder to see. I don't don't fight it anymore, I just let the feeling grow. It starts in my chest and it moves down low, like a hunger that don't care about love or sin or wrong or right. It just wants another body and another broken night. I went home and cleaned the gun, I tried to pray it wouldn't come, but the moon was already in the room, and my hands were going numb. I looked in the mirror and I didn't see a man, I saw something else instead. Something that smiles when it hears a heartbeat, slowing down and going dead. The blood moon made me kill again. I didn't even put up a fight. I don't know if it's the devil or if it's just the man I am, but every time the moon turns red, I become exactly what I am. I've tried to run, I've tried to hide, I've tried to put a bullet in my head, but the blood moon always finds me, and it always wants me fed. I don't even ask for forgiveness anymore, I just ask it to be fast. I don't want to remember how they sound when they're breathing their last. But the moon don't care about mercy, and it don't care about my pain. It just keeps coming back around, and I keep doing it again. The blood moon made me kill again, and this time it felt too easy. I didn't even shake when I did it, I just felt cold and greasy. And now I'm waiting for the next one, 'cause I know it's coming soon. And when that red light hits the sky again, I'll be waiting in the room. They gave me one last night before they put the rope around my neck. One last night to sit in this cell and reckon with everything I wrecked. The sheriff said I could have whatever I wanted, whiskey, a woman, or a smoke. But I told him I didn't need company to face what I'd become. I got blood on my hands that won't come off, no matter how hard I scrub. And a list of names in my head longer than any prayer or holy book. I used to think I had reasons, used to think I was different from the rest. But sitting here tonight I see I was just another man who couldn't outrun his own mess. The moon is full and bleeding red outside these iron bars, like it already knows what's coming, and it's not even surprised by the scars. I've spent my whole life running, fighting, taking what wasn't mine to take, and now I've got one night left to sit with every choice I ever made. This is the last night before they hang me, the last night I'll ever see, the last night I get to breathe without a rope tightening around me. I don't know if I'm scared or just tired, don't know if I regret it all, but I know when the sun comes up, they're gonna walk me down that hall. This is the last night before they hang me, and I don't have much left to say. that I lived the way I wanted, even if it led me here today. I asked them for a bottle, and they brought me one without a word. I've been drinking slow, trying to remember every face I've ever heard. Some of them deserved it, some of them didn't, but that don't change a thing, because dead is dead, and I'm the one who chose to pull the string. I thought about asking for a woman, just to feel something warm one last time, but I figured it wouldn't be fair to leave that weight on someone else's mind. So I'm sitting here alone with my memories and this bottle in my hand, trying to make peace with the man I was before they came and took my land. The priest came by earlier, tried to save what's left of my soul. I told him it was too late for that, told him to go and save someone whole. I made my peace with the devil, made my peace with the fact that when they drop me tomorrow, there won't be no coming back. This is the last night before they hang me, the last night I'll ever see. I've been thinking about the roads I could have taken, the man I could have been, but every time I try to rewrite it, the ending still comes out the same again. I was never built for a quiet life, never built for a home and a wife. I was built for running and bleeding and dying with a gun in my hand and fire in my life. And maybe that's alright, maybe that's just how it was always gonna end. Some men are born to hang, and I guess I was one of them. I don't need forgiveness, and I don't need to be saved. I just need these last few hours to remember what I gave. This is the last night before they hang me, and I'm not asking for more time. I've already taken enough from this world, and I've already paid for my crimes. When they come for me tomorrow, I'll walk out there with my head held high, because I live the way I wanted, even if it meant I had to die. Tired of waking up with a voice still in my throat, tired of feeling her hands on me even when I was alone. So I went looking for her in the dark where she liked to hide. I told myself this time I'd be the one who decided how she died. She was waiting like she always did, smiling like she already knew that I come crawling back no matter what I said I wouldn't do. I grabbed her by the throat and and pushed her down into the dirt. Told her tonight I was done being the one getting hurt. I thought I could break her, I thought I could make her big. Thought if I was rough enough, she'd finally stop living in my head. But the second I was inside her, the air around us changed. Her eyes went black, her smile got wide, and everything rearranged. I tried to rape the curse, but it raped me back. Took my body, took my mind, and left me on my back. I came inside her like a man who thought he still had control, but she just laughed and pulled me deeper while she swallowed up my soul. I tried to rape the curse, but it raped me back. Now I'm the one who's shaking, now I'm the one who can't fight back. She's in my veins, she's in my mouth, she's in the way I breathe. I tried to rape the curse, and now the curse is raping me. She didn't even have to move, she just laid there and let me do it. But every time I pushed in, I felt something else push through it. Like she was opening doors inside me I didn't know were there. And every door she opened, something darker walked in and stayed. I tried to pull out, but she locked her legs and held me tight. Whispered, "You wanted this, baby, now you're gonna stay the night." I came again and again until I had nothing left to give, and she just smiled and said, "Now you know what it feels like to live inside the curse instead of fighting it." I woke up the next morning with blood on my hands and her voice in my ear, telling me to do things I used to be too scared to even hear. I don't fight it anymore, I don't even try to run, because every time I do, she just makes it hurt more when it's done. Tried to rape the curse, but it raped me back. I used to think I was the hunter, now I know I'm just the meat. She let me think I had power just to watch me fall apart at her feet. I tried to break her, tried to own her, tried to fuck her out of me, but she turned it all around, and now she's the one who's fucking me. And the worst part is, I don't even want her to stop anymore. I just want her to keep going till there's nothing left worth fighting for. I tried to rape the curse, but it raped me back, and now I don't know where I end and where she starts to attack. She's in my blood, she's in my bones, she's in the way I think. I tried to rape the curse, and now the curse is all I am. She already owned the air I breathe. Black eyes, slow smile, and a hunger underneath. I knew right then I should have turned around and walked away. but something in the way she moved made me wanna stay. She didn't ask my name, didn't care about my sins. She just looked at me like she knew how this night would end. I bought her a drink, but she never touched the glass. She leaned in close and said, "You won't be leaving here the same as you came in, baby." I should've run, I should've fought, I should've turned and left that place. But my body moved before my mind could catch up with the pace. She took my hand and led me out into the blood-red night, and I followed like a man who already gave up the fight. She rode me straight to hell with her hands around my throat. Took my breath, took my soul, while she never even spoke. I came inside her like a man who knew he wouldn't last, and she smiled when I finished like she'd done this in the past. She rode me straight to hell and I didn't even try to leave. I let her take whatever she wanted, I let her take all of me. Now I'm cold and I'm empty, and I'm buried in her skin. She rode me straight to hell, and I'm still dying from within. She moved like she was starving, like she hadn't touched a man in years. And every time I pushed in, I felt something disappear. Her body was cold at first, then it started burning hot, like she was pulling life out of me with everything she got. I tried to pull away when I felt my chest get tight, but she locked her legs around me and held me through the night. She whispered in my ear with a voice that wasn't hers, "You wanted this, remember? Now you're gonna stay with me forever." I felt my heartbeat slowing down, I felt my vision start to fade, but I still kept moving like a man who was already made. She kissed me when I came, and I swear I tasted death, but I didn't stop, I couldn't stop, I had nothing left. She rode me straight to hell with her hands around my throat. I saw the light behind her eyes go out and something else move in. I felt my life get smaller with every single rise and fall of her hips. She didn't even have to say it, I already understood that this was how it ended, not with fire, but with blood. And when she finally came, she didn't make a sound. She just looked at me and smiled as I slowly sank down. I tried to say I'm sorry, tried to say I changed my mind, but she put her finger on my lips and whispered, "Too late, you're already mine." She rolled me straight to hell and I never even tried to run. I gave her everything I had until there was nothing left to give her. Now I'm cold and I'm empty, and I'm buried in the skin. She straight to hell. And I'm still fucking dying from within. I met her behind the church after the last hymn had faded. She was still in that white dress, looking like something sacred had been traded. We didn't talk, we never needed words for what we did. She just pulled me into the dark like she'd been rehearsing it. Her father's voice was still echoing from inside the building, preaching about sin while I had his daughter pinned against the wall, breathing. She came with her teeth in my neck and her hands pulling me deeper, like she wanted to be ruined by the same hands that would ruin her keeper. I knew this couldn't end clean. I knew one of us would break, but that night I didn't care. I just wanted what I wanted to take. She moaned like she hated herself, and I liked the sound of that, like she already knew this story wouldn't end with her coming back. I fucked the preacher's daughter, then killed her father. Not because I had to, but because something in me wanted to bother the last part of me that still believed there was something left to save. I wanted to see if God would answer when I put him in the grave. I fucked the preacher's daughter, then killed her father. And I didn't feel much when the body hit the ground. Just a quiet kind of emptiness, like something had finally been unwound. She found out the next morning when the whole town started to mourn. I watched her from across the street while she cried in the church uniform. She didn't scream, she didn't call the police or fall apart. She just stood there staring at the coffin like she already knew who broke her heart. That same night she came back to the same spot behind the church, still wearing black, still looking like she'd been left in the lurch. She didn't ask why, she didn't ask if I was sorry. She just pulled me in again like she wanted me to finish what I started. She cried while I fucked her, but she didn't tell me to stop. She just held on tighter like she was trying to feel something that wasn't gone. And when it was over, she looked at me with eyes that were already dead and said, "You took everything from me, now take the rest instead." I fucked the preacher's daughter, then killed her father. I did it for her or for me, or just because I could. Maybe I wanted to see how far I'd go before I finally understood. There's some lines once crossed, don't let you come back the same. That once you pull that trigger, you become the thing you used to blame. I still see her sometimes, standing in the dark behind that church, still wearing that black dress, still looking like she's searching for something I can't give her, something I already took when I emptied that gun into the man who wrote the book. I fucked the preacher's daughter, then killed her father, and I still don't know if I regret it or if I do it all again. Some nights I think about her crying, some nights I just pretend that I'm still a man who can be saved, that I'm not already too far gone. But the truth is I crossed that line, and I don't think I'm coming back home. Six men riding together under a blood-red sky, making deals with the devil so we could live and never die. We robbed banks, we killed lawmen, we took whatever we could take. We thought we were brothers bound by blood and sin for our own sake. But the devil don't do loyalty, he don't do brotherhood or trust. He just waits for the moment when the hunger gets too much. One by one they started looking at each other with hungry eyes, wondering who would be the first to sell the others out and rise. It started with small things, missing money, missing guns. Then it turned into whispers in the dark about who was the weakest one. We used to watch each other's backs, now we watched each other's throats, waiting for the moment someone would finally cut and run. We were an outlaw gang that turned on each other, sold our souls together, but we couldn't trust one another. Now there's bodies in the dirt and blood on every hand. We came together as brothers, and we died as strangers in the end. The outlaw gang that turned on each other, and I'm the last one still standing in the dust. First it was Tommy, shot in the back while he was sleeping by the fire. Then it was Cole, they strung him up and left him swinging from the wire. They said he talked too much, said he was gonna turn us in. But the truth was, they just wanted a share of the sin. I watched them do it, I didn't stop it goes when you sell your soul as a group. Eventually someone decides they want the whole pot instead of just a scoop. Now it's just me and two others left, and we don't even sleep in the same camp. We take turns watching each other with our fingers on the trigger and our souls already down. I know one of them is gonna try it tonight. I can feel it in the air, and when they do, I'm gonna be ready. I've already decided I don't care. The outlaw gang that turned on each other. We used to drink together, laugh together, kill together under the same moon. Now we're just waiting for the chance to put each other in the ground soon. I don't even remember why we started this in the first place. All I know is that we sold our souls as a group, and now we're dying one by one in disgrace. The outlaw gang that turned on each other sold our souls together, but we couldn't trust one another. And now there's bodies in the dirt and blood on every hand. We came together as brothers, and we died as strangers in the end. The night was quiet in a way that felt like it was waiting. I had blood on my hands and no more reasons for staying. So I walked out where the road ends and the dark begins to breathe. And I offered up the last thing that still belonged to me. I didn't ask for power, didn't beg to live without fear. I just wanted to stop feeling like I was always disappearing. I wanted to take without mercy, wanted to fuck without consequence. I wanted to ruin something beautiful and walk away innocent. Something answered from the silence with a hunger I could feel. It didn't speak in words, it just showed me what was real. I felt it settle in my chest like a weight I couldn't name. And I knew I had already lost before I even came. I made a deal in the dark, and it took everything from me. Took the man I used to be and left this hollow thing. I can still feel her inside me, like a sickness in my blood. Every time I try to breathe, she tightens up the rope. I made a deal in the dark, and now I can't get clean. She's under my skin, in my mouth, and the places I can't see. I keep trying to tear her out, but she only sinks in deeper. 'Cause everything I wanted, I paid for with the rest of me. She came to me that night like she already owned my name. Eyes like wet stone and a body that moved like it had no shame. I took her on the floor like I was trying to disappear inside, but every time I pushed in, something in me died. She held my face with both hands while I moved like a man possessed. Told me I could have a body, but I'd never get to rest. I came inside her like I was trying to put out a fire with gasoline. And when it was over, she smiled and said, "Now you'll never be alone again." Now the days don't feel like mine, and the nights don't ever break. I keep looking in the mirror, but I can't find my own face. She doesn't even have to touch me anymore to make me ache. I still feel her when I'm sober, I still feel her when I break. I made a deal in the dark, and it took everything from me. I tried to hate her, tried to kill her, tried to fuck her out of my head. But the more I used her body, the more she used what's left of me instead. I hate that I still want it, hate that I still get hard when she calls. Hate that I crawled back to her, even if I knew how far I'd fall. I sold the part of me that used to know the difference between sin and need. Now I'm just a body moving through a life I didn't agree to lead. And when she opens up for me in that voice that sounds like my own, I still go to her like a man who has already let himself go. I made a deal in the dark, and it took everything from me. Took my name, took my future, took the man I used to be. I can still taste her when I speak, I can still feel her when I bleed. And I know when they bury me, she'll be the last thing I see. I made a deal in the dark, and the worst part is I'd still do it again. I buried her deep where the trees grow thick and the ground stays cold. Shoveled dirt until my hands bled, until I couldn't feel my soul. I told myself it was over, told myself that she was gone, that the secret would stay buried with her until I was dead and long gone. But the next morning they were already there, black wings against the sky, dozens of them sitting in the trees, watching me with knowing eyes. They didn't make a sound at first, they just stared like they were waiting, like they already knew what I had done and were simply calculating. I tried to scare them off, threw rocks and cursed their names, but they just flew a little higher and came right back the same. Every day since then they've been with me, following me around, sitting on power lines, on rooftops, on the hood of my truck when I'm driving through town. crows know what I did to her. They saw it with their own black eyes. They watched me dig the hole. They watched me cover up her cries. They know where she's buried. They know what I used to make her still. And every time I look up, they're reminding me that they always will. The crows know what I did to her, and they're never gonna let me forget. They're sitting on my shoulder now, whispering that I'm in their debt. I can't outrun them, I can't hide. I can't make them go away. The crows know what I did to her, and they're waiting for the day. I wake up every morning and they're already outside my door. Hundreds of them covering the trees like a black and living sore. I go to work, I go to town, I try to live like nothing's wrong, but they're always there watching, like they're keeping score of how long. I've started talking to them sometimes when I'm drunk and alone, telling them I'm sorry, telling them I didn't mean to take her home. That night I lost control, that night I crossed a line I can't uncross, but they just tilt their heads and stare like they already knew the cost. I thought about ending it, putting a bullet in my head, but I know they'd still be there, sitting on my grave when I'm dead. They don't care about my guilt, they don't care if I repent. They just want me to remember what I did and what it meant. The crows know what I did to her. They saw it with their own black eyes. Oh. Sometimes I wonder if they're waiting for me to do it again. If they're keeping count of every woman I look at, every time I pretend that I'm still a man who can be trusted, that I'm still in control. But the truth is I'm just waiting for the day they finally take my soul. They don't need to say a word, they don't need to make a sound. They just keep circling above me, slowly bringing me down. And I know when my time comes, they'll be the last thing that I see. Hundreds of black eyes watching as they finally come for me. The crows know what I did to her, and they're never gonna let me forget. They're sitting